Alright agents, so I made this video to share my thoughts on the current state of the Division 2 for anyone considering returning to or buying the game. For those of you who don't want to sit through the whole video, I'll quickly sum it up for you. I feel that the PvE is in a pretty good place with a lot of new gear and new game modes being introduced, and regular updates coming in the future. Particularly for those who like grindy games, this is a solid one and I give it a 7.5 out of 10. PvP on the other hand has never been in a worse state, and I don't see it being improved anytime soon, if ever. I give it a 2 out of 10. Now on to my completely unbiased reasoning for these ratings. Despite the entire game having been abandoned by the devs for almost 2 years, I feel that the PvE has somewhat recovered and made the Division 2 a game that's once again worth the price tag. The new game mode, Countdown, is basically a loot cave, making it easier to farm builds. The new legendary missions offer a challenge to players who want to put their builds to the ultimate test. Lots of new gear and weapons have opened the doors to a bunch of new build options, and sometimes it feels like 16 loadout slots isn't even enough because there are so many viable builds in this game now. Then the newly introduced expertise system. I hear a lot of people talk about how long it takes to grind it out to level up your gear, and yes, it is a hell of a grind. But guess what? Having expertise isn't required to play or beat any PvE content in this game. It's just a small optional boost that you get from playing the game. And as long as you're not playing PvP, doing any content will help level up your expertise. So yeah, I think this was another good addition to the PvE side of the Division 2, especially for completionists. All that being said, the game is not perfect. For casuals, there are a couple issues with the Division 2. First off, especially with more gear and talents being introduced, the grind is real. I think this game was designed for people like myself who are willing to dump major hours into it. Putting together that perfect build can take so long that a casual gamer could get burnt out even before finding all the right pieces for their first complete build. Also, not all content is available to all people, or at least that's how a lot of people feel. Raids, for example, require 8 people. And while the discovery difficulty has matchmaking, to attain the exotics locked behind the raids, normal difficulty is required. And this has no matchmaking. So how does a solo player access the raids? Well, there are many resources available, like LFG on Xbox and official Discords, to name a few. But unfortunately, most players don't know about these. I think Massive needs to do a better job of educating its players. Let's not beat around the bush. This game is confusing as heck. And I'm not saying we should be told how to play the game, but at least offer a tutorial on how everything works so new or casual players feel less overwhelmed. Because not everybody, sad face, wants to go onto YouTube to learn how to play a video game. Then we have the no-lifers, and I don't say that in a negative way. I think with the additional legendaries and new gear, the Division 2 is moving in the right direction to appeasing this demographic. But to be honest, they need more. More in terms of challenge, content, and rewards. Heck, the leaderboards are flooded with illegitimate accounts, rendering them all but meaningless. So basically, your only ranking system for PvE is null and void. Not everybody cares about ranking, but some people do, and it gives them something to work towards. All in all, the PvE in the Division 2 is very good, and I recommend it to anyone who just likes killing stuff in a variety of different ways, people who like crunching numbers, and those who want to be creative and choose how they play the game. So on to PvP. This is where I've put the majority of my time and effort into since I got into the Division franchise. Since we're only talking about the current state of this game, I have to say the PvP is very bad right now, and it's never been this bad. Not even close. And I'm not even referring to the balance of gear, which is virtually impossible in a game like this. The devs have all but abandoned the PvP, basically since launch. And even at launch, it wasn't in a great state. It was the huge potential that Division 2 PvP had that kept me coming back. But the previous update gave us Countdown, which is PvE, and the expertise system, which, while it affects PvP, it has only served to widen the gap between the casuals and the no-lifers, which was already quite big. Now they're even considering removing it from parts of PvP. The major patch before that was focused on improving skill builds and PvE. Again, no PvP. It's been literally years since PvP has gotten any love from the devs. years.
I got you
And in
inside.
that time,
I got
numerous bugs have come up and remained, such as going invisible in Conflict, the dedicated PvP mode, and now in the DZ as well. Skills which unintentionally do an unreasonable amount of damage, and a wide array of other broken mechanics, most of which would be easy fixes for a competent team of developers. Now, I'm not saying these developers are not competent. They've created an amazing game with an outstanding PvE experience. I'm starting to think that the developers have been instructed not to fix any of the issues in PvP, and that Massive is intentionally trying to kill off the PvP community in this game. Why would they do that? My guess is that it's probably too much of a hassle for them to worry about two separate communities that are asking for two completely different things. And with the PvE community being much larger than that of PvP, it would just make sense for them to focus their attention on appeasing the PvE players. Do I have any sources confirming this? Of course not. It's just my theory. And while I've held this idea in the back of my mind for over a year now, I finally feel confident enough in it to put it out there. I hope for the few PvP players that remain playing this game that I'm wrong, but only time will tell. So anyways, if you're looking for a new PvP experience, I'd highly recommend avoiding the Division. And this is coming from someone who spent the last 5+ years playing the PvP in the Division. While it's a totally unique experience and has potential to be something truly amazing, the lack of attention it gets from the developers is straight up insulting to the player base. Now I'm going to talk about my personal experience in the Division 2. I played this game at launch, took a small break because farming builds was absurdly difficult, then returned when the New York expansion dropped, and have been a no-lifer since. I've also been streaming Conflict PvP for over a year. Despite not receiving any attention from the devs, I had so much fun playing this game. Players can go invisible, some of the specialization weapons are broken, and the mercy rule is probably the dumbest implementation I've ever seen in an online multiplayer video game. With all that being said, Conflict still had huge potential, and that potential was what kept me coming back. It has become apparent that this potential will forever remain untapped. Coming to that realization sucked. But I've now left the Division 2 PvP, probably for good. On top of the broken mechanics, the Conflict community is also a mess. Use an off-meta build and kill someone, and you're officially a cheater. And because there is no leaver penalty, a large number of players will just leave every game when they're matched up against someone who is better than them. I guess it's nothing new for people to have big egos on video games, but the Division 2 community is next level. It got to the point where I couldn't get a game anymore because every desperate loser who can't accept that they're just bad at a video game would just leave against me. It's really unfortunate too, as I have over 14,000 matches played in Conflict and was looking forward to hitting 100,000 kills. And for anyone who cares, I will still be streaming on Twitch, just not the Division 2. As for my YouTube channel, I was considering continuing to make PvE focused videos for the Division 2, but realized how much time and effort that would take, and it just wouldn't make sense for me. I'm currently playing a lot of Overwatch 2, so I will start making videos for that shortly. And to be honest, if you're not interested in other video games other than The Division, feel free to unsubscribe to my channel, as I don't foresee myself coming back to this dumpster fire anytime soon. Maybe I'll see you again in the Division Heartland or Division 3 if it has PvP. Rant over. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you back in future videos. Happy farming, agents. Guys, I'm just destroying them, guys. I'll take care of this one, guys. Don't worry about me.
Pushing the barricade.